guys. We're on question 34 of our review package. Question 34 says, Nate buys a video game system. The system costs $300. Games cost $60 each. He pays 13% tax on the system and on each game. He has $850 to spend. After he pays for the system, how many games is Nate able to buy? Okay, so this question gives us a lot of information. But the first thing I want to do is I want us to think about building an equation that represents the cost of Nate's video game system and games, okay? So, for example, if I were to write an equation for the total, the total cost, right? That would be equal to the cost of the system, right? Plus the cost of a game. But maybe we're not just going to buy one game. Maybe we're going to buy 2 games. Maybe we're going to buy 3 games. We don't know how many games we're going to buy. So, but however many we buy, we have to pay the cost of a game. So, cost of a game times the number of games we buy. Number of games. Games. Okay. So, well, the first thing we need to figure out is well, after he pays 13% tax, right, what is the cost of the system? And what is the cost of a game after tax? So why don't we do that? So this question is has more than one step in it, clearly. So let's start by calculating the cost of the system, right? So that's going to be equal to $300, right, plus 13% tax, okay? So there's more than one way we can do this. So one way to calculate the total cost is to do, well, 300, right, plus 0.13 times 300, right? Because this part of our equation right here, we'll calculate the tax, right? So I can do it that way. So that's going to give me 300 plus, so 0.13 times 300 is 39. So the cost of the system is $339. Okay. Another way I could have calculated the cost of the system, and I like to do it this way, is to multiply. So if we know that the cost of the system is $300, right? $300. Then instead of doing this where I have to do 300 plus 0.13 times 300, I can get the same answer if I just multiply 300 by 1.13. Okay, so by doing that, and you can test this, by doing that, I'm going to get $339 right away. So this way is kind of a faster way to get the after-tax amount. Okay, so let's calculate the cost of a game. Same thing, same way, right? So the cost of a game, so it's $60 each, right? And multiply that by 1.13, right, to find the after-tax price. So we do that, 1.13 times 60, we get $60 $7.80. Remember, money always has two decimal places, right? We would never just put 67.8. We would put 0.80. Okay. Good. So let's go back to the equation that we had right up here, right? The total cost equation. Let me just use C for cost now. Okay, so cost is equal to the cost of the system. Okay, well, now I know the cost of the system. It's $339. Okay, and then I know, so plus the cost of the game. Well, now I know the cost of the game is 67.8. Okay, I can put 8.80, but I don't need to in the equation, times the number of games. So I don't know. We don't know how many games, right? So this is where we would put in our variable, okay, right? And we would have to say something like, let n represent the number of games he can buy, right? Okay. So there we go. So now we have an equation, and it's an equation that we can solve to answer this question, right? So let's go back to the question, right? It says, after he pays for the system, how many games is he able to buy? So we know that he has $850 in total, okay? So let's put that in, and let's put that in for C, as in he can spend up to $850, right? So the cost could be, he's allowed to spend up to $850, okay? And we want to know, with $850, how many games will he be able to buy? So now we have an equation, right? An equation with a variable that we want to solve for. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to start by moving that 339 over to the other side. So I get 850 minus 339 is equal to 67.8n. So 850 minus 339 is 511. Okay. And then finally, we're going to divide both sides of our equation by 67.8. 67.8. That gets n to be all alone. And we're going to end up with, let's see, going to end up with 7.53. So he can buy 7.5 games. Well, you can't really buy half of a game, right? So it seems like he definitely doesn't have enough money to buy 8 games, right? So it seems like he can only buy 7 games. 7 games or less than 7, right? Because he could spend less than $850. All right. So let's go back to the options. Okay, so exactly 12, no. Exactly 9, no. No more than 7, yes. Okay, no more than 7. So he can buy 7 or less, basically. So C is the right